I'm Wayne Pollock. I'm a thought leadership ghostwriter serving big law and boutique law firm partners. I help these partners build their practices and their prominence one word at a time. When it comes to thought leadership content, size matters, but not necessarily the way that you think it does. We are tempted as professional services providers, as knowledge workers, to give as much as we can in our thought leadership content. We want to cover as much territory as we possibly can. We want to explain all 5 reasons why something is a certain way, or we want to talk about all 4 trends that we think are occurring regarding a particular area of law or a particular industry that we serve. But the fact is that in today's day and age, it might be more advantageous for us to write more content of less length than it is to write less content of longer length. When you compare the work involved in one 2,000-word article versus 4 500-word articles, and you realize that the chances of you having one of 4 read are better than having one of 1 read, you realize it might make sense to think about how to create less content more often. Despite what you may think, and perhaps despite what you've been told, length is not required to demonstrate expertise. Length is not required to demonstrate mastery over a topic. If anything, the fewer words that you can use to explain a topic and to convey its importance to the reader, the more intelligent you appear, because you don't need to rattle on and on about various aspects of a topic. You can deliver everything you need to in short paragraphs in a relatively short amount of words, as opposed to a treatise or a law review article. The interesting connection here between long content and short content is that when you spend X amount of hours writing one long 2,000-word article or 2,500-word article, you miss out on the opportunity, you miss out on the time to be able to publish multiple articles that are shorter about that same topic, but that again are more likely to be read based on them being shorter and there being more of them. There's no shortage of tips for how to shorten your writing and how to make it more compact. But I think the most important tip when it comes to your thought leadership content being short is that only keep words that are necessary to convey substantive information to the reader or that are necessary to convey your expertise and your mastery. Only the words that are necessary to convey what you know, to convey your knowledge, to convey your wisdom. That's all you have to worry about. Remove superfluous information. Sometimes it's nice to have some references to pop culture, or maybe you have some introductory paragraphs or some introductory phrases that make a document more readable. That's great. Don't weigh down your content with all of that extraneous information, extraneous words. It will make the content feel more difficult to read, and it might even drive away readers when they say, oh, you know what, I can't go for a few more paragraphs. I'm done here. I'm just going to skim and get out of this. Even when you have a topic that you are certain demands 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 words because there's a lot to say about it, think about how you can slice and dice that content so that you have a series of smaller pieces of content about that topic. You can always compile that content together in a long form version. You could always cross-link on the web or through other channels to various pieces in that series, but there are rarely instances where you couldn't break up an article into shorter bursts. And in today's day and age where people are getting spoiled by TikTok and other social media video platforms, they don't want to necessarily dig into a 1,500-word or 2,000-word article. Some might. And if they're reading a publication like a law.com publication, or they're reading an industry trade publication where they're getting a bound magazine full of articles, then great. They might be willing to read 1,500 words or 2,000 words. But when we're talking about digital marketing, we're talking about client alerts, we're talking about articles that are posted on our websites, you might want to reconsider how you approach content and whether it's worth it to tackle a topic with one single long piece of content versus a series of smaller pieces of content. Size matters when it comes to thought leadership content, but not necessarily in the way that you might have been led to believe. You can still demonstrate your expertise. You can still demonstrate mastery of a subject. You can show off your knowledge and wisdom through short pieces of content. And when you do, you increase the chances that that content will be consumed by your target audiences, hopefully leading to new client matters, new referrals, or at the very least, just an opinion that you are a thought leader, that you are an expert, you're an authority based on you putting out so much content regarding topics that are relevant, valuable, and compelling to your target audience. If you're interested in learning how to create relevant, valuable, and compelling thought leadership content, whether it's short or long, check out lawfirmeditorialservice.com. We have plenty of videos, blog posts, and podcast episodes that can help you do just that.